Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're looking at a huge shift in global power, and it's all happening right now in the world of nuclear energy. The pieces on the board are definitely moving, and a whole new map is starting to take shape.
So to get us started, let's just begin with a pretty simple question. When you think of nuclear energy, who do you think is the biggest player in the game?
Well, if you're just looking at the board as it stands today, the United States is hands down the leader. With 94 reactors up and running, it's got the largest operating fleet on the planet, which also makes it the single biggest user of uranium in the world.
But you know, that leadership, that snapshot of right now, it only tells you part of the story. The status quo is really a tale of two very, very different giants.
See, on one side, you've got the US, which you could call the volume player, just burning through almost 28% of all the world's uranium. But on the other side, you've got France, the dependency player. Yeah, they have fewer reactors, but get this, a staggering 2/3 of their entire country runs on nuclear power. They are the old guard of this industry.
Okay, but what happens when we stop looking at the present and start looking at the future? Well, that's when the picture changes a lot. And the strength of that old guard starts to look, well, a lot less certain when you see what's actually in the pipeline.
And honestly, this one number says just about everything. 0. That's the number of nuclear reactors currently under construction in the United States. France? Also 0, under construction or even officially on the books. For these big established players, demand is flat, or maybe even going down.
And this gets us to the really crucial point. In the West, you see a lot of proposals, a lot of headlines, but the plans often stay right there, on paper. But the new guard, mostly in the East, they are the real engine of what's coming next. Their growth is just explosive, it's state-driven, and their progress isn't measured in press releases. It's measured in poured concrete.
So let's look at who's actually building things, because there is one country driving almost all of the world's nuclear growth. And the scale of what they're doing is almost hard to wrap your head around.
I mean, this visual just tells a stunning story. Of all the nuclear reactors being built on the entire planet right now, China is building about half of them. That's 37 enormous projects underway, the same number as the rest of the world combined.
And this isn't some temporary surge either. It is a massive, multi-layered pipeline. They've already got 59 reactors running. Then you add the 37 they're building right now, another 44 that are officially planned, and a mind-boggling 145 more that are proposed. This pipeline is the central structural fact of the entire global nuclear industry today.
And listen, these are not just abstract numbers on a slide. This quote right here shows you what's happening on the ground. They are actively loading fuel into brand new reactors at the Taiping and Sonao plants. That's one of the very last, most critical steps before a plant goes live. The future isn't just being planned, it's arriving as we speak.
But China isn't acting alone in a vacuum here. It's actually the leading edge of a much bigger, politically concentrated trend that is fundamentally redrawing the world's energy alliances. A new nuclear axis is forming. You can see it with other major players like India and Russia, who also have these huge build-outs going on. You see it with newcomers like Turkey, Egypt, and the UAE. You're even seeing it in Eastern Europe. Countries like Poland and Hungary are moving ahead. So what's the common thread? Strong, state-driven energy policies and long-term central planning. It's a totally different model from the liberalized markets in the West.
Okay, so why should any of this matter to you? Why care about where concrete is being poured? Because this shift, it's not just about who gets electricity. It's about resources, it's about influence, and it's about the entire global energy map being redrawn.
Here's something that might actually surprise you. Between 2005 and 2024, when you count up all the old reactors that were retired and all the new ones that came online, the total number of reactors in the world actually went down by 4.
And yet, over that exact same period, the world's nuclear capacity, the actual amount of power being generated, grew by a lot. So how is that even possible? Well, it's because the new reactors being built are just bigger, way more powerful, and far more efficient. And the crucial part is each one of them needs a whole lot more uranium fuel to run.
What that means is that the future demand for nuclear fuel isn't just growing, it's getting super concentrated. As you can see here, by 2025, just 4 countries, the US, China, France, and Russia, are going to be responsible for almost 70% of all uranium use. That concentration raises the geopolitical stakes, and it makes the decisions of just a handful of countries critical for everybody. And that leaves us with one last, really critical question.
As this nuclear map is redrawn, with all the demand, the development, and the influence clustering in this new axis of state-led powers, the question for the future is pretty simple. Who gets to set the rules?